to make it all nice and pretty for YouTube, we'll call this the beginning of the 2023 LCS Spring Finals debrief and Q&A. So welcome, everybody. It's Wednesday. Took a couple days to kind of recuperate at home, spend some time with the pup, all of that kind of stuff before flipping the stream back on and everything. But figured I'd come talk to you all about my experience rejoining the team, being out in Raleigh, and whatnot, and then answer any questions that people have regarding the LCS Finals and whatever else tangentially related to that, before we transition into some games and have some fun and get back to playing stuff. So yeah, I guess my general thoughts, like I just was kind of alluding to, for sure a little bittersweet to go back and join the team after having not been a part of the league all split long. Of course, grateful to have that opportunity, no doubt. But I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a little difficult to go back and, feel like a full-fledged member of the team when I haven't been for 3+ months at this point. And so to that end, yeah, I think there's a little bit of like internal grappling with me about whether or not I truly belong there anymore. Not questioning my ability in any way, shape, or form, but just is it even right for me to be involved with these events at this point, given that I wasn't there all split, given that I wasn't a part of the team that's trying to reshape and change the LCS into whatever they believe it should be. So there was definitely some internal difficulty just, emotionally and logically working through all of that. But at the end of the day, I still think that I'm very proud of the product that we produced this weekend. I think the show was really phenomenal on both days, considering, there's always so many hurdles. Like, I don't think people truly understand how much goes into creating a live event broadcast, especially on the road in an arena. Just the thousands of people who put in hours, either building the set, laying lines, getting the PCs working, audio, lighting, graphics, producers, creating run of shows, player management, getting the players out there, community and events people, making sure that the experience on site is great for everybody that might come through. It really is, it takes a village, right? I think maybe that's not a surprise, but I don't know if people fully grasp how much it takes to put on one of those broadcasts, and that's never changed throughout my history working with Riot. And it's always really a wonderful feeling to get back to that and see how many hands it takes to produce something great. And it's cool to be a part of that. It's cool to be a part of something that's fast-paced and moving, happening live. So there's fires igniting in one area and people got to go put them out. And then as soon as you put out this fire, another fire ignites and, this thing breaks or this thing, doesn't happen the way it's supposed to. And we just have to deal with it. Like, I love that kind of active, on the go problem solving and working through stuff as a team. Again, working alongside Raz, Jat, Emily, and Mark, they're all just absolute fucking pros, and they're some of my best friends in the space, and it's always a pleasure to get to work with them again. They're super, super welcoming to have me back. And so yeah, I mean, outside of that, it was also very cool that they asked me to do the opening ceremony. There's a lot of pressure that goes along with doing an opening ceremony, especially something, again, that's live, timed to music, that has to be memorized, stuff like that. So it was a cool challenge, and it's always fun to step up to that challenge. I'm personally not happy with my performance in the opening ceremony, and we could maybe get into that a little bit. Don't need to discuss it too much. I'm just a hypercritical person, so I'll never I'll never really be happy with what I do. I think anybody who's worked with me in the past will probably tell you that I usually come off the stage and am immediately, critical of what I do, and am never really pleased with the end result. Um, but that doesn't mean that I think that the opening ceremony was bad, just that it could have been better, and that I can immediately, identify many areas where I fell short, or, at least could have done something better. So yeah, the games itself. Sorry guys, I'll get to your questions as well. I don't want to ignore those. I just want to get my basic thoughts out, and then we'll dive into all of your guys' questions. So not ignoring those, and feel free to keep throwing them into chat, and I'll scroll back and I'll read them. Also, if for whatever reason I skip over your question accidentally, feel free to message it again. Don't spam, but feel free to message it again, and ideally I'll get to it. If you ask your question 3 or 4 times and I'm not answering it, might have something to do with the question itself, or that I can't answer it. So just keep that in consideration as well. In terms of the games, I think to a degree both series delivered. Full 5 games for FlyQuest versus Golden Guardians. What a story it was for Golden Guardians to come out on top. I mean, here we are. We're wearing the FU sweatshirt, which I love that, how this bore out over the course of the season, from season start video for Golden Guardians to, ultimate runner-up for the split is so fucking cool. And honestly, such huge props to the entire team over at Golden Guardians for the work that they've done over, the past 3-4 years to get to this point. And Nero, who's in a lot of ways led the charge for them, super proud of them. Super proud of them. GG got second overall. They won the first day against FlyQuest in a 3-2 series in order to get to the finals against Cloud9. Spoilers, sorry, but what do you expect in a debrief video? Day 2, 3-1 win for C9. I mean, again, that's what I predicted. I was one of 4 correct predictions out of the entire influencer and analyst community. None of my analysts got it right, but I got it right. Hey, just saying. But I think that was a great showing by Golden Guardians as well. And in fact, again, you go back to game 1 where they had a massive lead just like they did in game 2, and that series could have gone full 5 as well. I was still pretty confident the whole way through that Cloud9 would win the series, and ultimately they did. Happy that those are our reps, if I'm being honest, to go to MSI. So overall, event was a ton of fun. I think it went, the product that we produced is pretty good. The games were exciting, and it was good to be back with everybody. Cool. With that, let's go ahead and I'm going to scroll back up here, see if I can get into a few of the chat questions. So again, I'll probably have missed a few. If I didn't scroll back far enough to get to your question, feel free to just pop it into chat again, and apologies on that. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's see here. Since when did you know you were going to Raleigh, and how did it make you feel? So I already answered a little bit about how it made me feel, in that it was bittersweet, right? Again, it's nice to be involved. Would have liked to have been involved, the whole split long. I think that's what it'll continue to come back to, right? Is there's always going to be a little piece of me that's like, well, if I'm here for the finals, why couldn't I have been there the whole split, kind of a thing. When did I know? I knew when I signed my contract with the LCS for the year. So that was back in January. So when I had made my announcement back on January 3rd, nothing was necessarily determined about what my involvement would be, right? I just knew that I wouldn't be on the LCS on a weekly basis. But I did know that they wanted me to be involved with some touchstone events to a degree, like the LCS Finals. It wasn't until later in January that we actually signed those contracts. But that's when I knew. So I've known for quite some time. I also know that I will be at Summer Finals. And I made it pretty public when I knew, right? So I'm hosting Spring Finals and I'm hosting Summer Finals. But those are the only hosting opportunities that I've been given for the LCS or league actually as a whole at this point. So yeah, so there's that. Jat wasn't serious about the barbecue tasting like Arby's, right? Yeah, he wasn't serious. He just was doing that for a reaction. Did you come to a conclusion, or are you still grappling? Ooh, that must have been based off of something I said earlier. So if you could clarify that for me, that'd be great, because I'm obviously well past that now. We can tell watching the stream how much it meant for you to come back. I hope at a minimum they keep bringing you back for every finals weekend. Nobody deserves a spot more than you. Thank you so much, Hellstrand. I appreciate that. Did you get the bag at least? I'm not really going to talk about money. Again, this was something that we discussed and was decided upon back in January. It's not like this was a 2 weeks ago LCS reached out going, oh, we regret not bringing you on. What will it take? Thank you so much, Rock Loam. Appreciate it. Never seen one of your streams live before. I came here to tell you you're a beast and inspiration. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Okay. Only criticism of the production is that it was difficult to hear the AD casters in interviews. Were you in venue, or you mean on the stream? That is good criticism, especially if it was a stream issue. Of course, I don't have control. That's entirely an audio mixing thing. Okay. Was it hard trying to find the chemistry again with the others? Did it feel like you just fell back into it? It was definitely difficult. Not impossible, but they've spent now an entire split developing a level of synergy and camaraderie with each other that now I'm reinserting myself back into. And without a doubt, that's difficult. And I spent a lot of the time questioning, where it's right or not for me to, to get back, to insert myself, or direct the desk in a way that I maybe would have done in the past, but maybe doesn't feel right now because of the way that they now run the show. So without a doubt, it wasn't like riding as they say, riding a bike, right? Where you just kind of get right back into it, no issues. I wouldn't say it was tremendously difficult. Again, I want to make it exceedingly clear that all four of, the people that I work with on camera, Jat, Mark, Emily, and Raz are absolutely phenomenal, total professionals, and we're super welcoming and all of that. But that doesn't mean that it wasn't, that doesn't mean that it was the easiest thing in the world or that I just slot in perfectly. Do you think if GG won that game they could have won the whole series because of momentum? Possibly, but I still think it's unlikely. Thank you, Paradox. Love you. Did you have to memorize the whole opening since you didn't have cue cards? I had to memorize everything except for I didn't have to memorize the player introductions. So once we get to like the actual teams on the stage, in the top lane, Licorice, and doing that stuff, myself and one of our writers, we scripted the whole opening, so everything together. And at least at that point, I'm standing center stage, and I do have one prompter that's like way off in the distance near the crowd. And so I could just basically read the player intros because at that point I'm stationary. But when I walk, the whole like actual opening ceremony part where, I'm talking under the music, all that was memorized and was supposed to be, hitting specific timings and stuff like that. Yeah, 2 teams go to MSI now, which is super dope. So it will be Cloud9 and Golden Guardians. Is it out of consideration to ever come back to the LCS or maybe try another main region? It's pretty unlikely that I'd ever go to another region. I just don't think I can uproot my life to go to another region, or at least it'd be a big ask, and it'd have to be a pretty incredible offer. Same thing kind of applies to the LCS. Not that I'd have to move and uproot my life, but that it would have to be a pretty good offer at this point. Like, I'm absolutely open to returning to the LCS. I never wanted to leave. I think that's no secret. But LCS has to make it worthwhile to me at this point. What is the new direction they want to go in and not having regular hosts? I mean, if I'm just being blatantly honest, your guess is as good as mine. There's nothing that I saw this year that suggested to me that that the show couldn't have been done with a host. So I'm still left wondering a little bit why my role wasn't needed. Um, but do you know why kids love the taste of Cinnamon Toast Crunch? Because it's the taste you can see, Bean. Come on now. I was at the finals in Raleigh, and man, you being there made it 10x better. It's hard not having you in the LCS right now, but I couldn't imagine finals. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I was glad to be there. And, I will say, I should have said this right off the top. Man, it brought me to tears multiple times. I tweeted about it and stuff like that following the event. But, like, it brought me to tears multiple times. The level of support that people showed me throughout the event, both in venue and over the internet and things like that from home. It was, God, I'm about to tear up right now, so I'm going to try and stop myself. But it was super meaningful. Let's see here. Sorry, you said that you grappled with emotion and logic of being on finals test after not being there for the whole split. I'm asking, is that an ongoing struggle or something you've come to terms with to some degree? I thought I had come to so what's interesting, that's a good question. I thought I had completely, I talked to a lot of people about that this week, because I thought that the 6 months between August and the new year, sorry, composing myself a little bit. I thought that the 6 months that I spent, as you can see, I'm clearly not over it. I thought the 6 months that I spent between August and the new year, I had gotten okay with the reality of my situation. And getting... Fuck me, man. Whoa. Holy crap. So clearly it's an ongoing struggle, to answer your question very directly. Okay. Yeah. Let me grab a tissue. Sorry, guys. Yeah, it's a difficult thing. To I'm okay. Sorry, to try and come back to the question itself. It's clearly something I'm still struggling with and grappling with. I thought that I had gotten to a place where I was okay with okay with the reality of my situation, and that I would be able to very easily come to an event like finals, do my job as a professional, and then go back to the way things are. That was a lot more difficult than I thought. just because being with those people that I had spent the last decade of my life building something with, kind of feeling moments of what was, and that's the thing, is you're basically just taking a trip down memory lane in a lot of ways. And don't get me wrong, a lot of those moments are wonderful. Going to dinner with my coworkers, right, which I haven't done in some time. Being in a new city and exploring it. Joking about mistakes and errors and celebrating big moments and hype plays. Like, all of that is incredible. And in the moment, so special. But when the day is over and I go back to my hotel room, obviously it's hard not to think about the fact that this moment is fleeting, right? It's only this weekend that I get to do that, when the summer split starts back up. I won't be there. I won't be a part of those moments again. So that's tough. And yeah, I guess I'm not as over as I thought I was. I definitely still harbor some resentment deep inside me that I clearly have not gotten over. And that's something for me to have to work on over time. That'll be a personal struggle for me, I'm sure, for a while. But, in due time, I will improve. Thank you, everybody, for the love, by the way, during all of that. I don't want to ignore how supportive y'all are. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Will you be at MSI? All right. No, I will not. I found out a couple weeks ago, unfortunately, that I am not being invited for the first time in my career to MSI. In 10 years of League of Legends, since I started hosting, I've had the distinct privilege of working on every international event that Riot has produced in some capacity, be it, the desk host, stage host, interviewing, whatever it is. And this year I was told that that would not be the case for MSI. I found that out a couple weeks ago when I emailed to press them to figure that out, because I had been holding the dates for them for the entire year up to that point, for the opportunity to go host or work on that in some capacity. And yeah, that was definitely a bummer, and it stings, to say the least. So that's probably a part of all of this as well, in terms of the question around whether or not it's an ongoing struggle. It's an ongoing struggle because I still have a lot of confusion around where I stand with the LCS and LoL Esports as a product. I was told last year that when I was told that I would no longer be on the LCS, I was told that they did not expect that to carry over to global events at all, because the expectation is that global events being higher profile, and just by the nature of how those broadcasts work, in terms of you just kind of have a desk in the venue and stuff like that, that they would still need a host. So yeah, unfortunate, and that was really tough to hear. I desperately wish that I was going out to London to celebrate the best teams in the world. And so that sucks. I don't know anything about Worlds yet. But where, a few weeks ago I would have told you I'm quite confident that I'll, would get some form of offer for MSI and Worlds, I'm no longer certain. So that's too bad. Moist, thank you so much for the 3 months, my dude. Appreciate that. Much love. Did you have the player intros memorized? Not the player portions. I did the opening ceremony memorized. I had a decent amount of the player portions memorized. I co-wrote basically the opening ceremony and the player intros was like a co-writing endeavor between myself, one of my most brilliant writers I've ever worked with in Elias, who's also a producer, wrote on players. He's just absolutely stellar. And Justin, who's the creative director of the LCS. The three of us all had a hand in creating the opening ceremony and the script and things like that. And so didn't have it all memorized for the player portions. Everything up to that was memorized, but luckily, once we get to the player portions, I'm standing center stage and had a prompter to work off of. Do you have any other non-LCS hosting opportunities on the horizon? Well, so I'm hosting Valorant. Again, I'll be doing about 1/3 of the VCT days. So this weekend, actually, I'll be hosting VCT Americas. So you can catch me there and throughout the year on that. But that's, I would say, minimal at the moment. But some opportunities. Not a ton. So if you know of any, feel free to shoot people towards my Linktree or my Twitter or whatever. team@jamesdash.com is the email to use. But my team will sort out contractual details and stuff at that point. McSchnizzle with the Prime. Thank you so much, my friend. Appreciate it. Much love. Let's see. Would you see yourself working with the LEC team? As I kind of alluded to earlier, I don't really see myself going to another region. It, unfortunately, would just be too much to uproot my life here in North America to do that. Okay. Will you be going to Worlds as well? Sort of answered that. Don't know yet. Great. Also, guys, I realize I'm super far behind. I'm just trying to scroll. Okay, here's where I got all the love for crying. Thank you. Let's see. How do I think MSI will go? That's really hard for me to say because I have not watched other international competition really this year, if I'm being honest. Were I hosting MSI, I would be watching it for research, but it's not my responsibility anymore. Let's see here. Yo, it's good. 10 gifted subs. What's going on? Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Seriously, support means the world to me. Thank you. Let's get some love in the chat there for It's Good. You the best. Let's see here. Trying to catch up. Looking for questions. Totally just. Also, sorry, if you guys got hit with ads in the middle of all that, apologies. Do you think our international performance on stage directly affect you losing your position as host? No, I don't think so. I think my cost directly affected me losing my position as a host. Elias actually goated. He is. Elias is what. I mean, I've worked with some absolutely incredible people in my career, and Elias is a fucking rock star on every level. How am I liking the VCT? Well, I'll let you know after I host it for 1 week. I love that team. I love their energy. I'm excited to get in there and start working with them. I'm going to get to work with Wyatt for the first time. We just had our meetings the other day on Monday. I was I was so messed up, man, because we didn't sleep the night after the finals, like, at all. We stayed up and partied, like, all night, and then we got on a flight at 6 a.m., so we just left the hotel at 4 after not sleeping. So then I got home, and I had to do meetings for VCT, so I was exhausted. I hadn't seen the games that weekend because I was hosting the LCS, so I was like, no help. I feel so bad. Wyatt was probably like, this fucking Dash guy doesn't bring anything to these meetings, and I'm like, I'm sorry. But I'm excited to get to work with him and others who I've never worked with before. Should be a good time. So you have to adapt your style with hosting different events. Do you have to adapt because of locations as well? Locations, I wouldn't say necessarily matter too much. They might matter a little bit just based on like the in-venue demographics. So like if I'm right, like using Americanized humor in like let's take MSI for example, in London, might not play very well to a majority London or British crowd, right? So you might make minor adjustments, but very, very few based on location. In case it's gone, do you think this being on Easter weekend was a poor decision? I personally don't think so. I mean, I don't know. I don't celebrate Easter or care about it, so it's hard for me. I'm obviously biased just to be like, but in general, the music is bugging. Yeah, so, I mean, look, if anecdotally, Amish, it prevented you from watching, then clearly it did matter, right? It had an effect. For me, I don't see that as a big deal. So evidence I'll use, at least in North America, is it's very standard to put sporting events on holidays. Because, in fact, it generally increases viewership. Thanksgiving, people are home celebrating. They put it on in the background. Things like that. Christmas, NBA games, right? So you have NFL games on Thanksgiving. You have NBA games on Christmas. So I don't necessarily see too much of an issue with putting something on Easter. But clearly it can matter for some. So it may have enabled some people to watch it, and it may have disabled some people from being able to watch it. I don't know how you quantify necessarily whether or not the holiday actually made that significant of a difference. So it's a hard question for me to answer. I also just don't have all the data. What's up, Masmara? How you doing? Yo, you got a sub. I love it. Okay, let's see here. Have you listened to any new book or anything else you enjoyed during the days? I haven't recently, so I'm not a big book person. I've been wanting to try and get back into reading a bit. Not a huge book person. I'm a big podcast person. I listen to a lot of podcasts, but a lot of politics, so we don't need to get into that. Will you be back for more casting? For League, Age of Empires, so I don't cast for Age. Obviously, I host, but I'm hoping to do some more casting for Age of Empires. What were your favorite in-game and out-of-game moments from this weekend? Ooh, interesting question. Let's see. Favorite in-game moments? Most of my favorite in-game moments honestly came from, I don't know if I have like a specific moment. I really enjoyed Saturday's series a lot. If I'm being honest. God, that's a really tough question to answer. It's a good question, but it's a tough one. Out of game moments, honestly, the final night, the party, getting to see everybody. I mean, that's the thing for me. So out of game moments is just seeing all the people that I would normally see week over week and getting to hug them, say hello, find out what's going on in their lives. So, that means that entails a lot of people you guys don't know. It's my audio people, my makeup artists, things like that. That to me is the best. Did I ride the bull? I did not. Jealous of the hoodie? Should be. It's a brilliant hoodie. Let's see here. Thank you for being vulnerable in front of so many and answering difficult questions. My pleasure. Yeah. I don't take too much issue with showing emotion in front of people. I think it's a healthy thing for sure. Let's see. How's my voice? Answered that earlier. Voice feels pretty good. Oh, thank you so much, King God David. I appreciate it. You think it was bad, Drumline Miss, in terms of the Easter holiday thing? Fair enough. Again, yeah, I'm perfectly prepared to concede that was a mistake. I just don't know. I don't have the data, so all I can take is people's anecdotal experience, and for some people it enables them, and for some people it disables them from watching the game. Yeah, there will be more AoE 2 casting. So if people, this was kind of a good segue. I'll answer more questions too, but it's a good segue for me to talk a little bit about what's ahead for me, right? Since I'm not going to MSI. Obviously, I'll be involved with VCT North America or Americas. So you'll see me sporadically on the broadcast this weekend, the following week, and I don't know what the rest of my schedule looks like there. And then on remaining days, my hope is honestly to kick the streaming into like full-time hours and all of that. So definitely keep your eyes out for it. That's a lot of what's next for me, which means League content, Valorant content, Age of Empires content will be the three primary, gaming verticals. I'm hoping to do some kind of a fitness and health challenge like 75 hard. I haven't really decided what I want to do yet, but I'm hoping to do some kind of maybe like vlog or chronicling of that journey, which might be like a once a week release or something where people can kind of follow along and maybe get some motivation to take control of their life and their health again, because it's something that I've let go quite a bit in these last 3/4 of a year, 9 months, whatever. I've not taken good care of myself, if I'm being honest. So it's time for me to finally kind of turn that around, I think. Did you voluntarily leave LCS, or did Riot decide to let me go? It was their decision, not mine. You're a big podcast person, struggle to read books. Yeah, I'm not a big reader. I'm a slow reader too, actually, which I really struggle with. So I like to ingest content like auditorially, typically, because I can consume it a lot faster. What's my biggest political hot take? I don't know if these are hot takes. I mean, two-party system needs to die. In the U.S., it's one of the biggest reasons why we have such a lack of progress. Electoral college system needs to die. Perhaps more importantly than a two-party system dying would be the electoral system dying. I think that our politics are dominated far too much by an average age that is way too high. And honestly, I think more countries, and this is a general statement, but very much applies to the U.S., would do much better politically if the average age of politicians dropped by like 2 decades. I don't know what the actual average age is across, all mediums, local, state, federal, in terms of politicians. But you look at things like Tennessee, where you see Justin Jones and Justin Pearson, two incredibly progressive and brilliant, intelligent, driven young men. We need more people like that. They're going to push our country and the world in a better direction a lot faster and more aggressively than anyone over the age of 50. I mean, even my age. Those guys are younger than me, and most people even my age are more conservative than them, even if they are liberals at the end of the day. Honestly, I think countries should be run by people who are, I think it's pretty ridiculous that you have to be 35 to be president. Fuck it. Let's have some 30-year-old presidents. Let's go. There you go. That's my hot take. Stop letting the country be run by old people. If you could cast for the LCK, would you? No, I don't think I could. I mean, unless they gave me, like a multi-million-dollar offer. Obviously, there's a price where it'd be worth it. But uprooting my life in LA doesn't make sense. I like being close to my family. I've got a dog I'd have to move. I have a house I'd have to sell, all kinds of stuff. Name a political podcast you listen to. Don't have to get into it. I'm just curious because I listen to politics as well. Great Britain. I primarily listen to Pod Save America and Pod Save the World. They're both under the branch of Crooked Media, which is the media company. But one of them is obviously U.S.-based politics show, and the other one is more about foreign policy. Still through the lens of the U.S., but gets into world issues. So those are the two primary ones that I listen to, and then I listen to a lot of their related stuff. So they've got other great podcasts within the same media sphere, like Hysteria, and things like that. But highly recommend that, the whole Crooked Media wing. This isn't necessarily politics, but I listen to The Daily. Sometimes they're dealing with political issues, right? New York Times, The Daily, and things like that. And so just trying to stay up on news of the world and things like that. Crowd chanting for M&S was really nice. I agree. That was dope to see. You allowed to use that mug when you've been spurned and burned? It's mine forever. How's my hair? Always on point. Got a good stylist, and I got good genes, I guess. What's your hairstyling process? Honestly, I showered. I didn't wash my hair today. I just showered. I didn't blow dry it. There's no product in here. This is just my hair. Showered, got out, dried it with a towel, and then I pushed it around with my fingers. Is there a backstory behind the phrase you always say at the end of the teams or streams and events and as always stay safe or stay healthy, stay safe, and be good to each other? There is a backstory. It's a really short one, and in my opinion, it's unspectacular. When the pandemic started and we moved to remote broadcasts, I had never used it prior to that. And while we were in remote broadcasts, I think I don't really know what initiated my thinking about it. Probably just kind of watching the state of the world, seemingly deteriorate around me and people on edge. We had a lot of discourse socially, culturally, all kinds of politically here in the U.S. And I think I just felt a pull to see how could I maybe insert myself to have some level of effect for people emotionally and things like that. And so I just thought about it, and I thought about what are the things that matter right now. Stay healthy. We're in the middle of COVID. Stay safe related, but also considering things like all the protesting that was happening, which obviously I was a huge supporter of, but I wanted to let it, wanted people to be safe. I want people to be safe. Go out there and change the world, but be safe. And ultimately, the most important thing, in my opinion, be good to each other. The thing that was lacking in the world, and it is always lacking in the world, right? Is people's lack of care towards each other, and understanding of the basic human condition, and that we're all struggling through life together. And so, for me, it was just those three things, and it was born out of just being stuck at home and wondering, okay, what can be my addition to the world right now? What can I do to help? And it's a super minor thing, but I just came up with it there. Stay healthy, stay safe, be good to each other. And that's where it was born. Thank you so much, Anero. Good to see you, by the way. Look, Anero, this is yours. Everybody, let's get some fucking love in the chat for Anero, by the way. He's worked his ass off over his whole career to build what has now become such an incredible program over there at Golden Guardians. And he'll soon be the proud owner of this fuck you sweatshirt. Gotta love it. Much love right back at you, bro. How'd I like North Carolina? I enjoyed it. I've been there many, many times. Both my parents went to Duke, so I've been there a number of times. My sister lived there for a period of time in Fayetteville. What camera am I using? I'm just using an Elgato face cam. All right, let's see here. Catching back up to some questions. Hi, sweetheart. Come here. Come here. You want to answer some questions? Yeah? Hold on, you're getting caught up in my cord. There we go. She's a chonker now. Hey! Don't call my puppy fat. She's a little bit of a chonker, for sure, for sure. Hi, sweetheart. How you doing? Okay. Let's see here. What else we got? Do you know what teams are leaving the LCS and what new orgs you'd like to see enter the league? I have some knowledge, but that's knowledge I can't share. Ranked voting introduced. That'd be nice. Ranked choice voting. Sweetheart, you're going to fall. I know you want to check out the desk, but I don't want you to fall, okay? So just stay here. Do. All right, I'll put my legs up. There you go. Now you're more secure, aren't you? Yeah. Okay. I love it. All these political questions. We can do like a political discussion in Q&A another day, but we're going to keep this a little more related to league and stuff. But I'm super down to talk politics and stuff on this channel in the future. Okay. I miss your dulcet. Oh, dulcet. What a great word, by the way. Dulcet tones on the LCS desk. Thank you. Okay. Keep saying that phrase. I really feel something every time you say it. I will use that phrase, I'm fairly certain, until the day that I die. Well, or retire from public life. It is, I think, my core phrase now, in terms of my public persona. North Carolina is super cheap. I mean, it's cheaper than LA and New York. I don't know if it's super cheap. It's hard for me to say. What's up, Ryu? Good to see you. Would you consider a role in any of the LCS teams? I would, but it would entirely depend on what those teams want to bring me in for. But absolutely, I am open to any and all orgs that would like to bring me on to have that discussion. I'm not saying I'll join any org for no reason. But any organization out there that feels that they maybe have a need for me, my skill set, or something like that is absolutely more than welcome to reach out. I would love to have those discussions in very much the same way that I came to the LCS. Again, just based on having a discussion, I will happily have discussions with teams moving forward. I got a hydrate redemption. I'm too far away from my water right now, but I'll hydrate later, I promise. Dash, have you ever thought about writing a book? I have. I'm not much of a writer, so I'd probably have to have someone write it for me. But sit down and talk with that person for many days, many hours, and then have somebody kind of write a biography or autobiography would be maybe the way that I would do it, or work maybe in conjunction with somebody. Like if there was another host in the industry that wanted to, or other casters in the industry that wanted to write a book about casting or esports casting and stuff like that, I would absolutely. It's something I've considered for quite some time. I've always wanted to make sure that I've given time to my career to develop, so that I'm writing a book from a true place of expertise, as opposed to just writing it as a cash grab. I wrote a book because I'm popular in this moment, versus I wrote a book because I have something to actually share, which would be what I would want. But I have considered it. What champion would you remove from the game and why? Yumi would be my absolute. Why? Because she's not interactive. What's up, sweetheart? Hi. Yeah. I love you. This song is a banger. This is my Discover Weekly right now. So all this is new to me at the moment. The dog. What's up, Jess? Yeah, she's here. Finals was my first LCS event. You crushed it. Thank you so much, Blockman. I hope you enjoyed it. That's dope to hear. Would you rather fight 100 blabber-sized fudges or 100 fudge-sized blabbers? Well, blabber-sized fudges, I guess, because they're smaller. That would just be. I'd have the weight class advantage in that one at least. Maybe I missed this, was wondering why you left the lounge, or if you didn't answer that, are you planning on coming back to the lounge regularly? I did not choose to leave. LCS got rid of me. watched a short video in a while ago, and I was wondering, have you ever done anything else like that, or monologues? Have you used those practices at the beginning of years of hosting? I started acting when I was 7 years old. I've been a professional actor since the age of 9. That was the first time that I ever got hired professionally as an actor. My degree, I have a university degree, a 4-year degree, a BFA in drama from NYU Tisch, which is one of the best acting schools in the world. So yeah, I have a lot of experience in front of the camera, doing monologues, acting, all kinds of stuff. Is Vi your favorite champion still? Absolutely. She will probably forever be my favorite champion. What's your favorite build path against all squishies or against tanks? Well, I don't really play her much anymore. I think in most cases, I would probably go the pro build path right now, which is the health one that gives you health when you ult. I'm forgetting the name of it at the moment. Why? Are you mad that I'm petting you? Do you want me to put you down on the ground? Or can I keep petting you? Against tanks. I mean, against tanks, she can still build tank because part of her kit, right, is that she's a tank shredder, as is. Obviously, in solo queue, if you're like hard carrying and hard smashing people, go for any of the big domination builds. Like, you can go full lethality if you want against all with squishies, I guess, but I'd rather just be a tank and be an initiation bot for my team. Whoa, that young? I never knew acting background. Yeah, 7 years old, first show. 9 years old, first professional show. At least did used to be my favorite. You are correct. That was before Vi was released. And then Vi became my favorite. Radiant Virtue, thank you. I'm so bad with item names nowadays. What was your first paid acting gig? I played Winthrop in The Music Man. 9 years old, had to dye my hair red, had to put on a lisp to do it. But I did it at a theater called the Moonlight Amphitheater down in San Diego or Vista area. 3,000 seat arena. For my first ever professional production. It was super dope. I got paid $100 total for the whole thing, but I was on top of the world, man. I thought I was the fucking shit, and it's what made me want to be an actor, was the fact that I got learning that, like, oh my God, you can get paid to do this? How fucking cool. So I turned to my parents and I was like, I want to do this forever. Would you do a TV show or movie sometime? I would do it tomorrow. If the opportunity presented itself. More than anything, I still want to be an actor. Are you happy they nerfed Zeri? Yes. Top 3 countries you have visited. Well, number 1, without a doubt. Okay, before you jump out of my arms, let me just put you down. Sweetheart. Yeah, you don't have to jump. You don't have to jump. You just ask Dad. Just ask Dad and I'll put you down. Love you, sweet pea. Okay. Number 1, Thailand. In terms of countries I've visited, without a doubt, hands down, you can't, like, of all the places I've been, Thailand. Beyond that, ranking becomes very difficult. I loved Barcelona. I actually really do enjoy Paris, but I might not put it top 3. Korea is pretty fucking cool, too. So, honestly, it might be, like, Spain. Italy's up there as well, though. Shit. Oh, God. I just know that it's Thailand number 1. But then South Korea, Italy, Spain. I know that brings me to 4. But probably those ones right there are up there. Would you co-stream? I do already. Oats. So make sure you follow the channel and come back in summer. We're not a very big co-stream, but yeah, I'm a part of the co-streaming watch party program. So we do that as often as we can. Obviously, I have some other commitments sometimes that get in the way. But that's a big one. Favorite TV show of this year? I'm watching a show called Shrinking right now. So in terms of TV shows that came out this year, Shrinking is probably my number one. I mean, I'm also watching season 3 of Ted Lasso and some other stuff, but we'll go with Shrinking in terms of shows that came out this year. Voice a character in Arcane. I have wanted to do that since it came out. I don't really know who to bug to do it. So if somebody sees this clip and knows somebody, you're like, hey, people at Riot, I'll be townsperson number 3. I don't care. Please give me a shot. I would absolutely kill it. And I would love to be a voice in Arcane or any of our future, or in any of our games. Voicing video game characters, doing voiceover in animated series, acting. I mean, it's all on the table for me. Is there any host you'd like? Is there any show you'd like to host in the future? Not necessarily. The things I want to host for, I've been lucky to already kind of have that opportunity. League, Valorant, Age of Empires are the games that I love. I mean, I would consider hosting in traditional news, traditional sports, things like that. So if those opportunities come around, or again, if somebody happens to be watching who's a TV exec, please hit me up. Let's see here. Are you allowed to co-stream international events? I don't believe so, although I'll have to ask. Thank you so much, It's Good. I appreciate it. And thank you so much for, I think it was you, right, who gave the 10 subs. Yes, it was the 10 subs earlier. You're so kind. I really do appreciate it. You're awesome. You're awesome. I have not watched Last of Us, so that's why that one's not on the list. I haven't actually watched it yet. I do plan to at some point. Any plan doing live viewing MSI? Oh, okay. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know if I can. I think international events is different, and I can't do it. Thanks for being a great part of the team, man. Thank you so much, the Vaping Fish. Voice Garen in the Arcane Season 2. Let's fucking go, bro. Come on. I think I'd be a decent, Ezreal. If I had to do, an actual League voice, I don't know. I've not tried, League champion impersonations much, so I also think it might be difficult to ask for them to let, I'm a recognizable voice in the League community, so it'd be hard for them to give me, a role to be a character, because people might not be able to separate those things. But again, that's why maybe I could be, townsperson, whatever, or a character that is not a character in League. You know, like Silco is not a character, technically, in the game of League of Legends. I guess he was in TFT. But, maybe something like that. Or, just, a future animated series that's not about League or something. But I would love the opportunity. You still with Riot? I'm not still with Riot. I mean, I'm not a Rioter anymore. I still work for them occasionally. Do I follow hockey at all? I do not. Live, oh yeah, live viewing. Yes, I could live view. Anybody can live view. There's no rules against that. Because that's just legally they can't tell you can't do that because you're not showing their content. So I could put a timer up and we could passively watch. But at that point, I think I'd rather just be streaming something else. Do you get to keep the Riot Dash League name? I do still have it at the moment. I don't know how long I'll get to keep it. I'm sure they'll take it away from me at some point. Cool. I don't know if there's any good wrap-up questions from anybody around the LCS Finals weekend, League, hosting, my life, my world right now. But maybe I'll take 1 or 2 more questions if there are any. Otherwise, we've been at this for a bit, so I think it might be a good place for us to kind of wrap it up and move on to playing some games and stuff like that. Doing the new Dragonflight patch? Not at the moment. I started and I was raiding and all that, but a few months ago I quit. Will we see you in real games like AoE 2 soon? Yes, you'll see me back in there soon. Today, since we're coming off of the LCS and stuff, we'll probably just play solo queue in League. But honestly, as soon as tomorrow, we're probably going to get back to casting some Age of Empires 2, because also I need to create some more content for that YouTube channels. Speaking of which, while everyone's here, please check out my 2 YouTube channels. I've got my main channel, which you see there after the lull. That's things for Riot Games related, so League, Valorant, whatever. There's not a ton of content on it at the moment. Actually, what we're filming right now is going to be on there as maybe one of the first pieces of content back. But a lot of my Riot Games stuff will be on the first channel. My Age of Empires stuff will be on that second channel. Every subscriber on those channels is hugely helpful to me. Every view on every video, like, comment, subscribe, that kind of stuff is greatly appreciated. How nervous were you at final ceremony? That's about the only thing in my life I get nervous for professionally at this point is opening ceremonies. And it's largely because I'm the one person who can fuck it up, right? Hundreds, if not thousands, of people put time and effort into making those opening ceremonies happen. And then at the end of the day, if I walk on stage and forget the words, then I completely ruin it. If I screw up the timing, it can be completely ruined. So that is already nerve-wracking. And then beyond all of that, the thing that I care most about is that those 10 players on the stage feel like they got their just due. This is their peak moment. For a lot of them, it's their pinnacle moment. So, you can amplify that by a million when we get to World Finals like I did back in San Francisco. It is terrifying to think that this might be the only time this player's on a stage this big in a moment that is this big in their life, this impactful, and I'm there, and it is my duty to make them feel that way, to give them their moment in the spotlight. And so there's a lot of pressure for those moments, but I also love that pressure. No, I will not be at MSI Frozen. I talked about that a little bit earlier, so you can go back in the VOD or check it out on YouTube for the full answer. But unfortunately, I was not invited to MSI. How often do things go awry from rehearsal and you have to adapt on the spot? Almost always. 100% of broadcasts will have something go wrong. There is always at least one, if not many, many things that go wrong. By the way, real quick, can you send me your Spotify playlist so you can command it? Yes, I will do that in just a second. Let's see what else. Okay. I think that's just about everything. Dope. Sweet. Well, there you have it, everybody. I hope you enjoyed it. For those of you on YouTube who are watching now, I hope you enjoyed this Q&A and a little bit of a look into what my life has been like the last few months and might look like going forward. Again, I love you all. Thank you so much for your support through everything. And onwards, upwards, hopefully to a brighter future.